Welcome to Inside the 90. I'm your host, Jami, and I'm excited to have a friend of the pod here today, Adam Landrum. Adam's been name-dropped in quite a few of the 30-something episodes so far. So, Adam, excited to have you here.
Very good. Thanks for having me. And pleasure to be back, too.
Yes.
I don't know what episode
I think you were episode 1 or 2.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. We talked through your journey back then, but we're just going to catch up today, talk about what you're doing now and the types of clients that the entrepreneurs that you're working with. So let's jump back for, say, 2 or 3 years and give us an update on what your journey's been.
Yeah, well, let me, if I'm not sure everyone either listened to episode 1 and 2 or remembers what that was. But, I owned an agency. Jami was VP of strategy at that agency Up and Up for several years. And together, Jami and I implemented EOS with about a team of, 15, I think. Yeah. And now, along the way in that journey, I had an executive coach, and it was life-changing event, and I thought it was so cool. I was like, I am going to go get certified, and I did in 2016, and then another certification with conscious leadership in 2018. And I was like, when I grow up or when I sell this business, this is what I'm going to do. So fast forward to today. So that was like, almost 10 years ago. Implemented EOS, sold the business, and now I'm living the dream. Now I'm doing executive coaching full time.
Yeah, and when we were working together, I would call it your Jedi mind trick. You were so good at getting people, to self-answer, to not, I'm like, just go do this, right?
Yeah.
You just ask questions till I figure out what I shouldn't go do and what I should.
Yes.
And it's kind of magical. It's a cool thing to witness.
It is. Well, it's magical. I mean, it's magical because it's, you can give advice, you can tell someone what to do. So it's coaching,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's 10,000 more times effective if someone figures it out themselves.
Correct.
So it's not even leading them to the answer. Coach may have a general idea of like maybe a direction they should go, but like sometimes people will say a completely different answer. You're like, oh, that's genius. That's great. Yes, go do that.
Yeah.
But just yesterday, my favorite comment I had a coaching engagement yesterday, and I asked a question, and he goes, "Man, that's a great question." Yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, that's sort of what I do. It's what coaches do. So,
well, I think you and I have had this conversation about consultants versus coaches. Like, parse that out a little bit.
Yeah. So they call it modality, right? So there's different modalities. I'm going to speak in general terms. So, but you have therapists, you have a consultant, you have a mentor, and you have a coach, and other modalities too. But a therapist says, maybe like, "Hey, you're broken, and I'll fix you." A mentor says, "Hey, this is how I did it. Do it like I did." A consultant acts like they're an expert and tells you how to do something, and then a coach believes that you have the answer. That's So going back to what we just talked about, right? It's like, I really believe you have the answer. I can ask you a couple questions to unlock what it is you already know.
Yeah. And I know you've been on a journey for about 2 years now, launching your coaching business, and you've gone through some different shifts and refinement, but what's that look like and where have you landed today?
Yeah. It's really tough to get away from your passions. So, at Up and Up is a purpose-driven agency. We lift up brands that lift up people. It was about your best self, your best version. We did that for universities. So when I first started out coaching, it was all about purpose. A lot of people want to know their purpose. I'd say a lot of people don't want to pay to know their purpose.
Yeah.
And so it's a challenging, there are some out there, but it's a smaller market. My other passion is just being an entrepreneur, being a founder. And I think that in and of itself is extremely purpose-driven. I think capitalism is extremely purpose-driven. So anyway, it's on the continuum, and I'm leading way more business than I am purpose, but it's still all entwined.
Well, what you owned a business for 25 years.
Yeah.
And are you working with people that are just now starting businesses? Or are you working with people that have owned businesses for 35 years? Where?
Yeah, good. Well, Yes. But my main target, my main audience I'm helping is really a founder is like 2 or 3 years in, and they've hit a ceiling. They've hit the, they just hit the ceiling to really grow beyond themselves. And man, I've been there. I know what that's like. It's, it could be a lonely place. It can be a tough place. And, but it's not, it's really under 10 people. So, EOS I think is magical, for companies 10 people or more. I think there's a gap for those pre-EOS, right?
Yeah.
And that's really who I want to help. My goal is I want to help them and then hand them off to, implementers to help them build it from there.
Or we went through a formal implementation of the EOS with Charlie White, so we had the full rollout. We graduated. You then managed. You even stepped out of the participating and facilitated our leadership meetings. Mm-hmm. How much just EOS tools and thinking do you kind of plant seeds with these entrepreneurs?
Oh yeah, now? A lot. So it's sort of like, I would say, you can go get HubSpot, and HubSpot can do so many things. Like to me, it's actually overwhelming how much you could do with HubSpot. Yeah, you only really need 10 to 20% of that.
Yeah.
I sort of like an EOS to HubSpot. Like, it is robust, and that's why I think you need 10 people, and you need it has a certain level of operational or tax, or and so you have to have enough people to be able to handle that. So I am not doing EOS, but the principles, of course, that Gino Wickman got from Good to Great and Vern Harnish and all the other folks, just doing that on a much lighter level. So you can definitely see that founders are struggling with the same things that EOS answers, just at a way different scale, and therefore it needs a different solution, in my opinion.
Yeah. What are the most common struggles you're seeing right now?
Well, so I think there are three main. So my approach it's called the founder threshold, and the idea is to help a founder get to $1 million in revenue, and that doesn't seem like a ton, and for established business it usually isn't, but only 10% of companies make it to $1 million.
Yeah,
90% of companies do not make it, and there's a reason why. It's usually because of the three different traps. The one is the dependence trap. Everything depends on the entrepreneur, right? They can't get past them. Their sales, their service,
You're looking at it.
You mean me?
You're right here.
Yeah.
We're 10 people. We just now broke through.
Yeah, see, there you go.
We just hit $1 million in trailing 12 about 2 months ago.
Yeah, and as as you're growing, right, you're delving out the hats, and and like you got designers, and you got, account managers, and like you got people doing the things, right? When you started, it was all you, or it was all me. And so that's the main thing, is they are still the cog in the wheel. So working with them to help them, build the systems, processes, hire their first employee maybe, because that's all they've known.
Yeah.
Right. The second trap is, I call it the trap of ambiguity. Let's keep everything ambiguous. Don't define anything, because I don't want to limit myself.
Yeah. I don't want rules.
Yeah, I don't want rules. I want, if I want to do this type of website or that type of website, or work with this client, and so you become nothing.
Yeah, it's all experimental sell.
Yeah, and sometimes experimenting to find out what it is you need to do is great. I did that with my coaching, even. That's fine, but you got to define it at some point. So I have some clients who have been in business for 15 years and they still haven't defined what that is. Like I call it a problem if you want to grow.
Is that a surprise to them when you start coaching them through that kind of, narrow and focus and niche or just whatever that focus is?
Yeah, I think because the mindset is, I can't limit myself. Like, I got to keep the options open.
Yeah.
And so that's scary. And I know that, and you know that from working it up and up, is like, we in 2015, 2016 finally niched down to higher ed, and that was scary to put all of our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
You're taught in school and stuff. You should differentiate, and so in my experience, it's the opposite. You should focus, and you should get very focused when the time is right. And I have lessons in that too.
And ultimately it's a scarcity mindset there, right? It's like there's not going to be enough if I just do this one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is actually the third. And all three of those are linked, right? But the third is the trap of survival.
Okay.
So a mentor of mine, Terry Weaver, said, entrepreneurs are the best in the world at breaking even. And it's funny on both sides. Yes. You can have a horrible year, like it's going horribly, and then all of a sudden at the last minute, somehow you just pull it out.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing. And then you can have an amazing year, and at the last moment, you tank.
Just drop the ball.
Because you take the ball, you take the foot off the gas or whatever. Yeah. And so, but we're really good at breaking even and survive because we're in survival mode and we're in what you said, scarcity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're in scarcity, so until you make that switch to abundance, I know that sounds sort of I think it sounds sort of cheesy, but it's not abundant. It's like wealth generation and investing, and you start thinking, it's like, oh, I should get health care for my employees.
Yeah.
I should get a 401k. And if you're in scarcity mode, you don't do that.
Yeah.
But obviously it's an investment and it will pay off. And the biggest, one of the biggest investments I made was, a hero of ours, David C. Baker, said, you're not going to get wealth. You're not going to build wealth selling your agency. You're going to build wealth selling your business or your building that your agency owns. Right. Yes. And so, that was really scary when I bought a building. But when I figured out what my rent was a month, I realized I could buy $1 million plus building. And so I went and did that, and that ends up being one of the best investments.
Correct.
But a founder who's in scarcity mode will never do
Correct.
that. So unlocking that is a huge unlock.
Well, like my personal experience right now is one of the reasons for not wanting a niche is niche requires an outbound engine, right? Or a very targeted inbound engine. But that if, a lot of founders go through those early years of having relationships. You've got relational capital, people know you and they trust you. And so you start off with that experimental sell because, call Jami, he can do that for you.
Yeah.
But moving off of that kind of relational referral type of business, when they don't know you for what that niche is,
right? It's
scary.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, no, I'm going to go do this. And then you get, like right now, I have a background in real estate marketing. So we still get a lot of real estate leads coming because they know Warren and I. But our website doesn't. So we have a landing page, right? But it's like that tendency to be like, well, should we? No, we shouldn't. Like we are a B2B tech agency. Even though business comes in that way because we've done that in the past, it's hard to commit to not open that back up and be like, all right, let's be all the things again.
Well, that's the whole premise of being bigger than the founder, right?
Correct.
Like bigger than your net. Like you have to, if you're going to grow, you got to get bigger than your network.
Yes.
You're going to have to start marketing. You're going to start. But I want to be clear. I'm not recommending to people should go run out and define their niche. What I learned, even in the past couple of years, is the niche finds you.
Yes.
So you get 2 or 3 in an industry, then now you're an expert. You can sort of put that out there and just see if people start coming to you. And then over time, like be patient about it. But over time you go, oh, seems like we're well known here.
Yeah.
Seems like we're trusted here.
Yeah.
Seems like maybe we should niche here.
And your niche to 2016 of going all in on higher ed, your first higher ed client was when? 2008?
Yeah. Clemson.
Yeah.
Clemson in 2008
So you had years of doing multiple things and then finding that pattern and being like, oh, wait, I think there's something here.
I might have been a little slow to the pattern recognition, but eventually I saw the pattern. Well, it was just scary to go to not diversify. It was so I probably saw the pattern 2 or 3 years before we finally made the decision. It just took me that long to commit. To commit and do it.
Yeah. What starting your business in the .com boom, 1999, 2000, somewhere in there. Compare that today with starting a business right now. Like, what do you think is the same? What's different?
Yeah, I mean, a smile on my face. Because it was so exciting back then. It was 2001. And then .com top bomb just happened in 2000 for those younger who haven't even been born yet. God, I hate saying that, but I mean, it was the new. It's like the interweb. I mean, it was magical, and I don't know. I feel like it's 10x that now.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like limitless opportunity. Like for me back then, I quit public accounting and went into web design basically, and like it was brand new. I mean, I think maybe the first websites were 96, 97, but super early. But this was it was early mainstream. People were starting to get their first websites.
Yeah.
But it was
Google's out.
Like it was what's that?
Google was out. So you could search and find them.
Yeah. But it was like my parents didn't know what I did. They never knew what I did. They're like, "What's this interweb stuff?" And but now it's like with AI, it is like times 10. It is times 10. So Jami and I both vibe code and geek out on an amateur level, I'd say.
Yeah.
And
highly curious, not highly technical.
Yeah. And I had a client who was really struggling with their to-do system and account and function with a calendar. And so I took about, 3 or 4 hours, and I made a complete system for him. And the next day I was like, "Hey, try this out." And he's like, "This is incredible. How did you do this?" I'm like, I don't know. But like you can't, back in the day, that's a $50,000 project that I did in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Right now, it seems like there's a ton of opportunity to add a lot of value to your clients using AI. There's, you can be an AI agency and all that. That's happening, of course, but it's just gonna shift.
As far as the types of clients that you're working with, any pattern in that other than size?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a reason why these founders are stuck where they are, and one is because this is normal. You're really good at your craft. You're good with clients. You're good with sales. You're not good with processes and systems and administration and stuff. So what I'm seeing is more and more clients are coming to me and saying, "Hey, the coach asks the questions. Well, the client still has to go do this stuff.
Yeah.
They struggle in doing this stuff. I also consult them. So I will tell them, "Hey, I've done this. I think you should do this, or this." And they're like, "Great. I still have to do the stuff."
Yes.
So they're now saying like, "Can you help me do it? Like you've done this before, right? You know how to do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know how to do this." Well, yeah. So that's a trend I'm seeing.
So are you coaching them through it, or are you producing deliverables now?
It's almost those three modalities is So I have to pick. I have to discern like, is this a coaching moment? Is this a consulting moment?
Yes.
Or is this a doing moment?
Correct. Yeah.
And more like a fractional COO or a fractional chief strategy officer.
Yeah.
And so I just balance that out. And I'm just, if you know me, I tend to I define and pick a lane. I can get very disciplined at what I do.
Yes.
And maybe rigid, and I'm just choosing to. I just think it's interesting times, and I'm just choosing to be way more fluid.
Just hold on loosely.
Yeah, and just try to pay attention to what my clients need and what they're asking for, and going, okay, yeah, I could probably do that. So it's different, but it's also sort of my makeup of my background. So it's cool to be able. AI is totally enabling me to provide that level of service.
And as far as the coaching itself, is that in person? Is it remote? Or do you use tools and platforms? What does that look like? Yeah,
more. It's. I don't know if you're experiencing this, but more and more it's becoming in person. So I have a prospect in Atlanta right now who just said, "Can we do in person?" And I was like, driving to Atlanta, but so it's becoming more important. People are saying, "Can we meet in person?"
Yeah.
But it's I'm probably about a 50-50 mix right now.
Okay. Do you see a difference in the effectiveness or your approach or style in person versus Zoom?
I mean, I think in person almost always is going to win, right?
Yeah.
But I coach phone calls. It's interesting because in person you get all the extra information, but phone calls it's different because you're really paying attention to the energy, the tone. So you can actually you get different insights with the different modes that you use. You know, Zoom is pretty good. So they all have different pros and cons, but I mean, if you had to pick for effectiveness, you'd go in person. Yeah. Are you seeing that with clients? Are you meeting more in person or?
Yeah, we actually just brought on a new client this week, and we're like, hey, let's kick this off. They're like, I want to come to your office. You know, I mean, part of that, we're in a cool space, and it's busy and there's activity, and I think people are excited about that now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would always love. I mean, I just prefer in-person meetings.
Yeah, especially. You had Up and Up. We'd go visit the campus and do it in person, and then sustain the relationship via Zoom, and try to get back from time to time. So, I think there's good use of hybrids, but
and I think on our end, I mean, just boots on the ground inside the client's office is always good. Wherever that is, it's just you just get to know them better. I lost my thought. We'll edit this part out. Oh crap, what was it? I totally lost it. What were we talking about? We were talking about boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Right before that,
my different modalities, my different fluidness.
All right, I'll add. It's not what I was going to say, but I was going to say this earlier and didn't. Yeah, so at that scale, we're talking about the modalities. This may have been a David Baker thing. I don't remember. But going back, 25 years ago, I remember someone saying that a company of 6 is a founder and a bunch of helpers. Mm-hmm. 12 is too many people for any one person to know what the hell's going on. Yeah. And then 18 is usually when you've got a management layer. You got the front of the house covered. Somebody owns that in the back of the house. And then, Joe Irwin at Irwin Pendleton here in town, which was Southeast's largest ad agency at one time. And he said, yes, that's true. And then 25 to 250 is all the same. Like just the dynamics of 6, 12, and 18 are just different dynamics than 25, 50, and 75.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you see that playing out? Is that really that 6-person spot is where people get stuck?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people get stuck at the solopreneur spot.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And so even hiring your first employee can be challenging. But yeah, I think this is where, the debate of is leadership a skill? Are you born with it or is it a skill? And I think it's probably a little bit of both, but there's definitely a skill to be learned. I mean, you just have to show up differently. You gotta manage differently. You gotta think about yourself differently. I actually just gave one of my clients a assignment, and it says, "I am the CEO of a 25-person business." Like, he still has the mentality of a solopreneur, and like a solopreneur is like often a lifestyle business, and you can mow the yard in the middle of the day if you want to, and you can go play golf, whatever. It's like,
but no work, no money.
Yeah, if you're not if you really want this to be a 25-person company, you got to start acting like a CEO, and you're not doing that type of stuff. So, it's mentality, it's skills. I think it's for me. I mean, my biggest leadership improvement was self-awareness. Was a coach and just realizing, different rackets that I was doing that I wasn't even aware of. Yeah. So I think that's crucial in the different stages.
Yeah. Going back to hiring that first employee, you were on the other side of this text message, so it probably was not even anything that you remember. But so the first person I was hiring when I hired Warren was, I'd committed, Mark's my co-founder, and we had hired Andrew Geisel, and we were doing our EOS on Focus Day on June 6th of 2024. And I was trying to hire my integrator, and it was a big salary.
Yeah.
And texted you, and I was like, you don't have to answer this now, but the guy I want to hire is concerned about, having a paycheck. And I was like, what can I do? And your text back, do you remember what you texted me?
No, I don't remember this at all.
You texted back and you said, just guarantee him his first year's pay. That was it. And I was like, what kind of stupid answer is that? And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, that's actually brilliant, because I had no paycheck for myself, right? I started something and I met my income. And I was like, if I just guarantee my first employee that you're going to get the paycheck before me, I just got to go generate my income again, right? That person's covered. And that, I don't know if that was your intent, but it was a light bulb moment for me.
It was totally my intent. It was total brilliance.
I was like, I should just pay Adam $1,000 a year just to answer text messages like that.
There's a business there. But yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. But that was leadership too.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying, hey, look, you're so important. I'll make sure you get your salary first before mine. Like, that guy's going to follow you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, he didn't take the job, but Warren, so I ended up, and Warren in this, I'm not going to say names, but Warren knows him, and I wasn't talking to Warren yet. So but what happened was that the person I was trying to recruit actually said, it's too entrepreneurial for me right now. I've got kids going into college, just the timing is off.
Yeah.
And then literally like that day, Warren texted me.
Yeah.
And he knew my existing bookkeeper was retiring, and Warren and I go back for 25 years. He's like, hey, what are you going to do? And I was like, let's meet. But I had already committed to myself that the solve for me to hire whoever this person was going to be, was just to give them the salary, and I had to go find mine. Right. So that made the deal with Warren to come on super efficient, because I had already, that switch had been flipped in my brain. Yeah. And then it worked. Neither one of us ever missed a paycheck.
and just to muddy the waters a little bit more is, Warren and I went to lunch, and I said, have you talked to Jami? He's hiring this role. So anyway.
I didn't know that part.
Yes. It's all entwined. It was all entwined.
So, but no, it was, I call myself patient zero for you. Because when I joined Up and Up in 2019, I had a lot going on in my life, and I tried to be as transparent as I could with that. But just, the switch for me was the conscious leadership. And when you introduced that to all of us. But the idea of curious versus right, that was, an idea that you introduced me to totally changed my life.
Yeah. So what Jami's talking about, two tenets of conscious leadership. The first, well, there's 15 of them, 15 commitments of conscious leadership. But the first two. Number one is radical responsibility. For me, that's the game. Well, is that a game changer? You really need both of them. I'll be no more or no less, take on no more or no less than my responsibility. Yes. And then number two is curiosity. And it's like, I'll be open to ideas versus being right. Yes. And like, oh my gosh. Yeah. You learn those two things. I'm about ready to take a company through those. We're doing our first kickoff on conscious leadership next week, and I'm so excited for them, because I think it's gonna change a lot of things. Yeah,
I still use the video clips we have in onboarding right now. We just have a conscious leadership. There's 6 videos that I use just to give people language, Right. And it's a great. It's not a framework that in any way conflicts with EOS. It's actually just about, you answer. What is conscious leadership about?
I think conscious leadership is about, the premise would be, there's a lot of unconscious leaders out there operating, unconscious leaders. And we're leading in a way we don't even realize why we do what we do. There's a good and there's a good reason why we do that. It's not always healthy. It's not always what you want. And so what would happen if we actually got conscious? Like we said, we just are like, well, why am I doing this? Why do I react to my boss, or why do I react to a direct report when they do this? Why does that make me mad? Why, and so just building awareness. Yeah. And I was just thinking, while we're sitting here talking about this, Jami, too, I was just sitting here thinking, we're really talking about leadership in general, and I'm talking about it from like an early founder standpoint or a solopreneur, or, but like this applies in companies too, right? Like
or in life. I mean, the general principle for me is, just the curiosity versus right. It's just you can't be, especially as a creative individual, right? If you have your title has creative in it, creative director, then you've got to be curious, right? And the more right is only based off of history, but to let go of being right and let go of an outcome, and just knowing that there literally are a million ways,
right?
And there's not a one right way, most of the time,
right? Most of the time, right? But ironically, the most uncurious people I know are creative directors, or they had the title creative director. I've seen a lot of very right creative directors. It's like
the direction part is what they get hung up. Like I direct.
Yes, I direct. Yes,
but leading is a different thing.
It is a different thing, and you're right. So it can be. So it definitely translates personally. But if you're a leader of a team in a company, if you're a new leader, a new promoted. My favorite thing was to promote people and give them no training whatsoever. That's what I did really well at until later. And like, oh man, there's just so much to learn and as a leader. And you take. I mean, I've taken it home, and it's been as effective at home as it was at work. Too.
Yeah.
So conscious leadership is amazing.
Well, what knowing that we're most likely have entrepreneurs, visionaries, integrators, people in entrepreneurial organizations listening to this, since it's a primarily EOS focused podcast. What, with your coaching, like what are 3 things that you would leave them with?
Well, maybe this is mentoring. I mean, one thing that I did at Up and Up that I liked was I wanted my leaders and managers to coach their people and not manage them. Like, and part of that comes from radical responsibility. Like, so if you truly believe that your team and you empower your team to be radically responsible in their job, you don't need to manage them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the whole idea is, but they probably need coaching. They don't have the experience, or they need someone to bounce ideas off of. And like, man, if you can, so coaching is just again, you ask open-ended questions to let them figure out what they need to do. So that would be, so you said 3, that'd be number 1.
Coach. Don't direct, coach.
So don't direct, but coach. All right. What's your question? What
are three things from a coaching perspective that we as leaders, entrepreneurs can do?
All right. Oh man, this is, well, okay. Well, this is you'll like this one. You should have a coach. So just because you're the leader doesn't mean you don't need a coach. And actually, I mean your team needs a coach, but like you probably need a coach, especially if you're the CEO or the visionary. Like I just told someone the other day, like as an entrepreneur, leader, CEO, like if you don't have someone to talk to, you will go crazy.
Yes.
You have so many, you don't, like, I think it's, we make 10,000 decisions a day on average. An average person does. CEO probably makes 50,000. And they're heavy, they're big. And, and to me, I see price sensitivity around coaching. You can get a coach anywhere from, I don't know, $500 a month to $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right. The ROI, like if a typical a good coach costs $25,000 a year, ROI on that is insane. It should be 10x. Correct. It should be 1,000x. I mean, just like I made $1 million. My coach helped me make $1 million decisions. Yes. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And and Gil Garrettson's my coach.
Yeah.
And we met yesterday, and so I've got leadership team. I have an integrator. We have an EOS implementer, Andrew, and I've had Gil, along for my journey since I left Up and Up. through all the the peaks and valleys and transitions that led us here. And it's refreshing because I know that's my time and I get to unplug from the business and just go sit down with him. And he does a really good job of knowing where we left off last month and bringing that back and saying, okay, well, this is what we talked about.
Yeah.
There's accountability built into it.
Right.
But then yesterday, we've got a big event going on next week. And I was just talking to him and he pressed me on some things. And at first I was like, I got this. And he kept pressing. And then we just had a killer breakthrough just because there again, I got curious and I was like, all right, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
But just having that sounding board and a rhythm and a cadence to it, I've just found is huge.
Yeah. And a cool skill he just did there. And again, coaching has some cheesy names, but he held the space.
Yeah.
And he didn't let you wiggle out of it.
Yes.
He saw something, or his intuition was like, I know Jami thinks he has this figured out, but I don't. And so he just held that and let you come to realization of like, oh yeah, there is more. All right. The third thing is you coined this term. So this is what I recommend. And it was around professional development, but you have a special term for it.
Yeah, pro-personal development.
Pro-personal development. You want to explain what pro-personal development is?
There's so much that you did for the team at Up and Up that you would think is like, oh, this is professional development. We're going to, even like I had the opportunity to go to strategic coach, right? For you. Well, you were in strategic coach and as your operator had the opportunity to go and that was huge. That introduced me to Colby and everything. But just that what you learn doesn't stay in the walls of the office, right? When you grow as an individual, you grow at work and at home.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't get positioned as a benefit to an employee of an organization when you're making these investments in them, that it's not just about get certified for work, but it's about making you a better person.
Yeah.
And I think you're uplifting brands. I can't even remember. I said it wrong. Uplifting brands and uplift people, right? Like that idea, but you actually put that into the company itself. So you focused on the team and said, I want to uplift you, and then we can uplift our clients. And those clients, then you call it what, win to the fifth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Win to the fifth.
Win to the fifth.
Sometimes I forget about some of those stuff. But I think companies, professional development, it's like a check mark thing,
Correct.
right? It's like, do this, do that. It's like, and I think my intent really was, I just believed if I better the person, it betters the company.
Yes. Yeah.
And even if it doesn't better the company, well, at least it bettered the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, we talked about, it goes home.
Yeah.
You know what happens if the home life is better? Better employee.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Better team member. And then they have a better family. They have better marriage. They have, it just makes so much sense. So the third thing is I would develop a pro-personal development program. So 15,
maybe we need to rename it.
Yeah, really. It's hard to say, tough to say, but the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership is it's a great book. It's a book and you can hire coaches that do that. But like the Colby, and if you're a smaller company, then Strategic Coach is a great resource. There are a lot of great resources out there, but like, that was our program, and that's what we, when we had exit interviews, if people, God forbid they leave, like Jami left us, we'd say, hey, what's the best thing that Up and Up did? And it was usually a love-hate thing. It was like the thing I hated the most was conscious leadership. The thing I loved the most was conscious leadership.
Yeah.
Because it was challenging. Yes. It was a paradigm shifter, and that'd be the third thing. Find something truly that grows your people.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And if anyone's interested in finding you, where do they find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I think it's Adam Landrum. I'm pretty sure it's Adam Landrum on LinkedIn. And then madetomatter.coach is my website.
Awesome. Well, it's been a fun conversation. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
See y'all.